A Laurel County man is in jail today accused of basically destroying the inside of his neighbor's home.
One man is dead after an officer-involved shooting in eastern Kentucky. What police say led up to the shooting.
And we're getting a look inside a Lexington hotel being rebuilt after a massive explosion that happened months ago.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
We will get to those stories in just a couple of minutes, but first we are tracking a breaking news alert in Clark County.
Deputies there are on the scene of a crash involving a school bus. They say a vehicle slammed on its brakes and swerved to avoid hitting a mail carrier vehicle on Colby Road. A school bus coming from the other direction swerved to avoid a head-on collision. Both the vehicle and bus were damaged, but we're told no one was seriously injured.
He's accused of destroying the inside of his neighbor's home. It all happened at a Laurel County home.
Deputies tell us they arrested 43-year-old David Harshberger early Sunday morning at the home near London. Phil Pendleton has the details on the man's tirade and what police say may have caused it. It's our top story at 5:30.
Police were called to the home on Curie Lane, which is just off of Kentucky Highway 80 here. They say that David Harshberger went to his neighbor's home and basically destroyed stuff on the inside.
When our deputies arrived at the scene, they in fact could hear him inside actually destroying the residence.
Police say they still don't know what was behind the adult fit that David Harshberger was throwing inside his neighbor's house early Sunday morning, but they say they believe they know what was at least fueling it.
Because he was so intoxicated. He was very intoxicated. He told deputies he had drank a fifth of Southern Comfort prior to their arrival.
Police say Harshberger destroyed furniture, glass, and other items both inside and outside the house, and he made it clear he did not want to go to jail.
We did have to carry him to the police car. He wouldn't cooperate and go with us. Even after we got him into custody, we had to load him up ourselves.
And Harshberger is charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, criminal mischief, and alcohol intoxication. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say their deputies were not injured in the scuffle with Harshberger.
State police are investigating a deadly shooting involving troopers in eastern Kentucky. It happened last night in the Chavies community of Perry County, not far from Hazard. Police say that 53-year-old Michael Asher pointed a gun at state troopers who then shot and killed him. Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk with the latest. Jennifer.
Sam, a constable had been patrolling near the Wendell Ford Airport when he heard gunshots coming from a camper around 9:30 last night. When troopers went to that camper, they say Michael Asher was yelling at them but refused to come out and talk to them. They got his number from a neighbor but say Asher wouldn't answer the phone. When he finally came to the door, troopers say Asher had a gun and started raising it toward them.
If you see a weapon coming up in your direction and an individual has been making threats toward you and has possibly been firing in the area within a short amount of time.
My papa's lived here since '07 and nothing like this has ever happened.
State police say Asher did not fire his weapon and was pronounced dead at the scene. The number of troopers involved and their names have not been released. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
And an autopsy on Asher was scheduled to be done this afternoon in Frankfort.
Well, he performed more than 11,000 unnecessary eye exams. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Pulaski County. A jury found Dr. Philip Robinson liable of seeking payment from the Medicare program for thousands of exams. Robinson provided eye care services at several nursing homes for about 5 years, saying the resident needed the exams, but the jury said the eye exams were not medically necessary. The Medicare program lost nearly $420,000 because of Robinson's false claims. In Madison County, a man has been arrested for stealing a car and crashing it months ago. Richmond police say 36-year-old Dwight Rose crashed a vehicle into a creek on Tates Creek Avenue back in January. We're told Rose ran away from the scene. Police say the vehicle was stolen from Russell County. Officers found Rose last week hiding in a home on Altamont Street. And in Rockcastle County, a portion of Interstate 75 will be closed as part of a pavement improvement project. Starting May 10th, the current nighttime closures will become 24-hour closures. North and southbound lanes from mile markers 65 to 69 will be closed Sunday through Thursday for about 6 weeks. Crews hope to finish the work by August 1st.
A routine pizza delivery for a Louisville man ended up with him fighting for his life. Louisville police are looking for the man responsible for stabbing and robbing 25-year-old Josh Lewis early this morning. They say that Lewis was on his way to Norton Hospital to deliver pizza. When he got to the hospital, officers say a man stabbed Lewis in the back and stole his vehicle.
Safety is our #1 priority with our drivers. We do credit card only after midnight, so they're not walking around with large sums of cash. And he probably wasn't. He probably had a minimum amount of cash on him.
Incredibly, police say Lewis walked into the hospital with the pizzas and then fell in the ER. He suffered a collapsed lung. He's in serious condition. Police do not have much of a description on the suspect.
Well, summer-like day across the region for us.
Oh, what's going on? Temperatures like July, not May right now. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is taking all the accolades for this, right? Yeah.
Why not? I've taken a pounding over the past 3 or 4 months with the snow, the flooding rains, the chilly, frosty conditions a week ago. So, yeah, we'll bask in a little sunshine glory out there. On a week that is featuring summertime air, as you mentioned, 81 right now in Lexington. This is live First Alert Defender, by the way, where you're looking at the temperatures, the clouds, and a little bit of precipitation as well. Most areas today topping out into the lower 80s. What is Defender picking up on with those clouds here in the northern Kentucky? It's very isolated, more than likely a sprinkle or two. That's a possibility here into the northern sections of the area. But for the rest of central and eastern Kentucky, we're seeing mainly sunshiny skies that are setting up. Our live sky cams from across parts of the Bluegrass region showing a mix of sun and some clouds. This is live First Alert Defender in our backyard. We're peering to the north, where we have a little more in the way of some clouds. Now, if we turn that view toward the south, you're going to see more in the way of some sunshine that is taking shape. Speaking of sunshine, it's a lot of S's in there. Summer temperatures taking over with the focus of the forecast when I come back in about 10 minutes.
Chris, thank you. It has taken months to rebuild, and today we are getting a look inside a Lexington hotel that was damaged in an explosion. Back in September, a man accidentally crashed into a gas meter at the Fairfield Inn and Suites near Beaumont, which caused the explosion. Rebecca Smith shows us the repairs and renovations to the hotel in a story that's new at 5:30.
We saw the pictures last September. What looked like a demolition was actually the result of an explosion. It was triggered when a man accidentally hit the hotel's above-ground gas meter with his car. No one was seriously injured thanks to hotel staff. They received applause for evacuating the building right in time.
She went and reached out to all the guests that were currently inside the hotel and got them out safely, and we are so thankful that nobody was hurt. And she's actually since been promoted to a general manager in another state for her efforts during that time.
This here is Harrisburg Road. It is right next to it in Beaumont, where the Fairfield Inn and Suites is located. It was this half of the building that was completely redone from top to bottom. The other half of the building was only partially redone inside because they had engineers who came out and determined that it was deemed structurally sound.
Even without 60 rooms for 4 months while the rebuilding effort went on, all employees stayed in their jobs. They were spread around to Marriott's other 2 nearby properties.
Now our focus is just on our building is back, we are back, we need our guests back.
Management hopes that these yellow pillars will prevent anyone from running into that meter again. In Lexington, Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
Well, the hotel will hold a grand reopening event on May 14th. Insurance helped cover the cost of rebuilding that hotel.
Generous returns and little risk. That's what 2 conmen promised dozens of investors. They stole millions of dollars and left many of their victims penniless.
They promised 25% annual returns and said that the investment would ultimately yield a 5-to-1 return.
Curtis Somoza and Robert Coberly told victims their money would be invested in bond trading programs or used to buy life insurance to benefit parishioners at various churches.
Initial investors will receive regular payments as promised for several months, and they talk to their friends and their family about how they've received the money as promised, like clockwork. And that convinces other people that, hey, maybe these high returns are real.
Somoza and Coberly were running a Ponzi scheme. Inspectors say more than 63 victims lost more than $44 million.
Most of the money that was taken in by the con men was used to pay previous investors, and some of it they used themselves to invest in multi-million-dollar houses, jewelry, very expensive cars, and to facilitate their fancy lifestyle.
In fact, a Ferrari, a rare Mercedes-Benz, and one watch alone that cost $500,000. Victims were crushed.
Despair, they've lost their life savings, they put trust in a professional investor, and they've lost everything.
Postal inspectors say it's important to do some research before investing in anything. Don't rely on advice from a friend or loved one.
If you're ever asked to invest in something that they say has very little risk or no risk with above market returns, you're usually being asked to invest in a fraud.
Now, both the men in this case were charged and sentenced to 25 years in prison and ordered to pay more than $44 million in restitution.
The list of White House candidates continues to grow as two more people throw their name into the race.
And the number of Kentuckians registered to vote this year hits a record high. Bill Bryant has details in the bottom line.
Good evening. As Kentucky Republicans move toward what appears to be a presidential caucus next year, requiring voters who want to take part to show up and give their support at venues around the state, there is a growing list of White House candidates. Former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina becomes the only woman so far to announce that she is running for president on the GOP side. Fiorina made a respectable but losing run for the U.S. Senate from California in 2010. She has never held public office. And retired neurosurgeon Dr. Ben Carson also joining the GOP race, becoming the only African-American candidate in the race so far. A Draft Carson movement has already raised more than $13 million. Known for his conservative stands, he was a recent speaker at Center College in Danville. Kentucky Republicans likely to hold a presidential caucus next year at the urging of Senator Rand Paul, who is also a presidential candidate and cannot be on Kentucky's ballot twice. Danville residents may be asked to pay more taxes. There are preliminary talks about raising occupational and net profits taxes, as well as property taxes, and adding a vehicle tax. The Advocate Messenger says the proposed increases would generate more than $900,000 in the coming fiscal year and about $1.3 million a year after that. City leaders say they will also look for areas to cut expenses to try to bring costs under control. The 4 Republican candidates for lieutenant governor are scheduled to appear on statewide TV tonight. That will be on KET at 8 o'clock this evening. And the Kentucky Secretary of State's office reported this afternoon a record number of Kentuckians has registered to vote this year, nearly 3.2 million. As you know, there are plenty of ads out there trying to influence them ahead of the May 19th primary. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
As the death toll continues to go up in Nepal from that earthquake, many around the world are sending in help.
Here in Lexington, a group of UK students who are from Nepal, they're working together to send emotional support and relief from Kentucky. They set up a relief fund called Nepal I'm With You, and they say the American dollar makes a big impact providing basic needs.
People in rural area, they are just waiting for 2 packets of noodles or a rescue team or tarpaulin or tent.
Well, the group has raised $3,000 so far. Their goal is $10,000. The group is also using their education in studies ranging from public health to forestry to provide tips for the rebuilding process.